Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Oh my goodness, that was like an afternoon. Hello. Like after lunch, hello. All right, let's try this again. Good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, I like the energy, I like it. Well, my name is Whitney Jones, and I serve as the Senior Director for the Center for Academic Success and Engagement. I know that's a really long title, so just remember CASE, okay? So you may be curious to know, like, what is this department, or what do I do? And so I have the privilege to oversee the area and support the many services that we provide in the Center for Academic Success and Engagement. CASE is actually housed in the Paul L. Foster Success Center, which make up several different areas that I'm going to briefly talk about. We have OLA, which is our Office for Access and Learning Accommodations. We have University Advisement. University Advisement serves primarily some of our exploring majors. We have Student Opportunity and Accessibility Resources, and then we have our department CASE. So our 4 areas actually make up the Paul L. Foster Success Center. A little bit about me and what I do is I have the privilege of overseeing the various areas that make up CASE, which is supplemental instruction, tutoring, academic mentoring, our new student experience courses, which all of you actually should be or will be enrolled in a new student experience course. We also have our store, which is our on-campus food pantry. We support special populations, so our transfers, our veterans, and our first-gen college students as well. So the department is very large. We'll talk about more later on in the afternoon if you want to go take a visit of our facility. So next, I'm actually going to allow you all to hear from our panelists so they can introduce themselves to you and you can learn more about who they are.
Hi everyone, my name is Ellie Becker and I am an incoming sophomore, pre-business major, and I'm from right here in Waco, Texas.
Hello everybody, my name is Alden Chambers and I'm a mechanical engineering major. I am a junior, incoming junior, just completed my sophomore year, and I'm from McKinney, Texas.
Hi everyone, my name is Andrea Leal. I am double majoring in international business as well as entrepreneurship with a minor in political science. I am a rising junior and I'm from the Rio Grande Valley.
Thank you all so much for introducing yourselves. So how this will work is I will ask the students questions and they will answer. No worries, we have saved some time for you to ask your burning questions. I know you have them, don't be shy. I know the room is very large and you can't see everyone, but we have microphones here at the front, so we'll allow you time at the end to ask us any questions, okay? Okay, this is like church response. Okay, anyway, so let's just get started. In your first year at Baylor, you're called to flourish in a community of academic rigor, personal growth, faith formation, and cultural humility. Andrea and Ellie, tell us a little bit about why you decided to come to Baylor and what your first impressions of Baylor were in the first weeks, and what were you most excited about and what were you most anxious about?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, I was born and raised here in Waco, and my mom has actually worked at Baylor for most of my life, including being a residence hall director, which meant I lived in the residence halls from the ages 1 to 4. Because of this, I was able to grow up around this great community, going to football and basketball games, sing, pigskin, Dia de Loso, and other great Baylor traditions. So when it was time to make a decision on what college I wanted to go to, I decided to tour Baylor just so I could get a chance to see all that it has to offer. And going into the tour, I was like, oh, I know everything about Baylor. There's not going to be any surprises. But I quickly realized that Baylor had much more than I thought it had to offer. Baylor became my #1 choice in college and the only school that I applied to. Once I was coming into Baylor, I was really excited for all the people I was going to meet and all the friendships that I hoped to make. And I learned very quickly that the community here at Baylor is something super special and like nothing I've ever experienced before. On the other hand, I was also very anxious about the difficulty of classes. College classes can seem pretty intimidating when you're in high school, and I really had no idea what to expect from the classes that I was going into. But once I got in them, taking them day by day and putting the effort that I needed to put in, they weren't as scary as they may seem. As far as the first couple weeks, I was honestly surprised at just how difficult they were. I feel like no one can truly prepare you for this time, and it's not hard because of the lack of community you can find here at Baylor, but it's probably the first time you're on your own, making your own decisions, creating all new friends, and the academics are totally different. You often might find yourself feeling extremely lonely or thinking that you're the only one going through this, and trust me, you're not. I don't want to say any of this to scare you because college is truly one of the best times of your life, but I say all of this so that you can be aware of what might come in the future and to know that you're not alone.
All right, so unlike Ellie, my path to come here wasn't really clear. I applied to more than 10 schools and actually ended up going to another one. So I transferred into Baylor later on, and I feel like the main reason why I ended up here was because of the crazy amount of opportunities that I realized Baylor has. I felt like it was one of the most loving and caring environments for students, because not every university will care about you, and I found out that in Baylor, every single professor, advisor, and student want to see you grow. Because of this, though, I had to move away from home, which is 7 hours away. So it was definitely overwhelming, to say the least. I mean, it's a new school, it's a new culture, it's living by yourself for the first time. So there is a lot of, like, the feeling of being lost is very present. However, I soon realized that everyone else is feeling the same way. So everywhere I turned, everyone was feeling lost. Everyone was feeling like they missed their mom and they just didn't know what they were doing. I mean, it becomes this really beautiful camaraderie of, like, I don't know how to do my own laundry to I don't know where I'm going. So if any of y'all are scared before that, like, you feel like you're freaking out, like, I'm gonna do this by myself, remember that everyone else is doing it by themselves. And you have that support system of students that you don't even know yet. So everything always works out at the end. I want to emphasize that because I know a lot of friends of mine that their first week, they were like, it was horrible. Like, I felt so scared, but at the end of the day, they're like, yeah, and then I found that the girl living next to me was feeling the same way, and we just kind of came together. So there is a lot of people that are feeling the same way you will. So don't be scared to reach out to anyone. And in Baylor, there's so many opportunities. I mean, we have all types of clubs. I am involved in multiple of them. So there is a home for everyone. So don't feel like you're not going to be able to fit in anywhere because there is so much for everyone to do and for you to explore. I mean, I'm sure there's many things that you don't know you like yet, and you'll come to realize it soon when you come to Baylor. So I'm really excited for that journey for you guys, and that is what I have to say for this question.
Thank you. So what I heard was it's okay to be anxious. It's okay to have nerves. It may be a little challenging at first, but once you continue on, you'll find your place, you'll find your community. So thank you. As a Baylor community, we hope to foster love for one another. We want everyone to feel as if they belong. Alden, what has helped you feel loved by others in the Baylor community, and how have you shown love to people who are different than you?
Whenever I came into Baylor, I really kind of had a different experience because I came in during the whole COVID era of Baylor, and so back when gas prices weren't incredibly high and you didn't really have to drive nowhere, so it was really nice. But it was really my second year that I was able to foster the community that I really wanted. And so that mainly came from just taking the opportunities that Andrea has mentioned where, of course, you have your dorms, you have different clubs and organizations on campus that really help to foster that type of community. It's going to be times where it's hard to, of course, step out of your comfort zone and you will be a little bit anxious, but I assure you that the person sitting to your left and sitting to your right, they're going to feel homesick at some point. It's only natural. Whenever you're traveling so far away from home to this foreign place, it's hard to see it as your home. But that's what the importance of it being your first year is that you're starting to turn or kind of terraform this new place into feeling more like home. And you do that through, of course, communicating and engaging with your peers. And I encourage you, of course, as you look into your first year to know the persons that you're going to be going to school with. You'll find that you're going to be going to school with people that come from all corners of the world. I had friends that came from Australia. I had a lot of friends that came from California. Maybe some of you guys are from California. I had friends from Indiana. you don't know who you're going to meet. And so it's important for you guys to learn your peers' unique stories. Each one of you has a completely different background. And whenever you're exposed to those backgrounds and you can have the assurance and that reassurance that you're accepted at this school, which is what this community hopes to foster and does very well, as I can say in my experience, and I'm sure my panelists can also attest to. That's really makes that love more prominent and makes you feel like you have a home here at Baylor.
Thank you so much. Baylor it's a diverse community. We have students coming from all over. We got folks from California here today. I know you're here. It's a lot of y'all. Trust me, I know. But then we have students who come from Texas, and sometimes our Texas residents feel like they are a little bit outnumbered by our West Coast friends, but that's okay. We love them all. Yes, we do. We love them all. But in order to do that, you have to get to know. We have to get to know each other's story, and that's very uncomfortable in the beginning to be vulnerable and to share your story. I think many of you all in here today may be going to line camp, and you'll have the opportunity more to talk about your story and what that means and what that looks like for you at Baylor. For those who are not going to line camp, that's totally fine. You have an entire 4 years here at Baylor to talk about your story, to meet other people, and to share that. Ellie, how did you find the academics at Baylor in your first semester? What tools did you find the most helpful in adjusting to the Baylor classroom?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, I am a pre-business student, and I was really worried about how academics at Baylor would be for me. Because of this, I chose to really prioritize the time that I spent on school and made sure that I understood the material in the classes. Since the first couple weeks were hard, I wanted to make sure I had some security in my classes so I could use it as some sort of a cushion. And I knew there were also grade requirements for the business school, so this made me stay focused on getting good grades. Something that you'll realize, and I realized quickly that was important, was getting to know my professors. Professors give students the chance to meet with them during office hours to get help on homework, review material for the class, or get ready for a test. And professors really respect students who take time out of their day to go meet with them and get any help that they might need. And I strongly suggest that you do this. One area that I know I struggled with was my issue with procrastination. I thought I could keep my habits in high school of doing a project the night before or even turning things in late, but I quickly discovered that this just isn't an option in college. I highly suggest you learn how to manage your time wisely and create a schedule for your daily time, and you'll realize that there's so much more free time once you get to college for you to hang out with friends or do stuff that you want to do rather than, working on school. But if you space out your time and set aside time for studying instead of cramming for a test, you'll realize that it's much more beneficial and you'll feel much better about yourself.
Thank you, Ellie. So Ellie said, if you heard nothing else, time management. Start working on that now. So if you haven't really done a great job at time management, no worries. You have plenty of time to redeem yourselves. But that seems to be very important as you begin to factor in what it means to be successful. College requires you to practice resilience and have a growth mindset. Andrea, in what ways have you grown during your time at Baylor? Maybe ways that you did not expect.
All right, for all of y'all that are coming into college, of course, growth when you get here is inevitable. Whether you grow a few inches or you change completely your whole persona, you will grow. I feel like the way I've grown the most, apart from educational or in my outlook in life, I feel like I've definitely become a way more mature individual. I mean, it's the first time in my life where I was held accountable for doing my own stuff, from, hey, remember to eat, to, oh, you should go to class, you should make your bed, you should do the dishes. It's the first time where you're the only person seeing how you're taking care of your everyday life. So it's a sense of maturity that I had never experienced before, and it was really neat to be able to grow from it and be like, hey, like I did that. Like I did my own laundry by myself. No one had to tell me so. So kind of hearing my mom's voice in the back of my head and like being not annoyed by it, but being like, yeah, like I can do that and I can take care of myself. That was one of the biggest growths I've had here. But also, Baylor has definitely taught me how to be more empathetic towards others. So how to be more caring, how to be able to see that, hey, if a friend misses their family, I can be there for them. We all have different struggles, like it has been mentioned. There's a lot of people from a lot of places here, so you get to be more empathetic on other people's perspectives. Whether you agree or not, you get to be more empathetic towards where they're coming from and what they're thinking. It's really I guess it's easier to understand each other when you're so close to each other for a long time. And I feel like the most important thing I've definitely learned is that sometimes failure is necessary for success. So failure is something that I've now feel comfortable with, and I would like all of you to have a point where you do as well, because it sometimes helps you reach your full potential, and sometimes it really makes that difference between you reaching whatever you want to reach in life.
Thank you for saying that. One of the things you shared is that sometimes failure is necessary for success. I often share with students, in order to know your strength, you have to go through weaknesses. You have to go through those opportunities so that you know how strong you are, and to practice that resiliency. And it's okay. It is truly okay to have difficult moments and challenges. I have a son who listens to this song on YouTube called The Bear Hunt. Look it up after this. But one of the things that the Bear Hunt song talks about is that they're searching for the bear, and they're saying you can't go over it, you can't go under it, you have to go through it. And in life, you have to go through those moments, you have to go through those challenges, and you have to face them dead on. And that's a part of that resiliency and growth mindset. So thank you so much for referencing those moments. All right, Alden, you have established relationships with faculty as a tutor and with your research. How have you formed those relationships with faculty, and why is this important?
For sure, it's kind of a no-brainer in my mind, but really kind of, this is why I came to Baylor, was being able to have faculty members that really cared about me and my success. That was the one thing I had heard about coming into Baylor, and so far it's held true. And then, of course, now going into my third year, I can say that all of my professors have been very helpful and dedicated to help me understand what their subject matters are. So kind of what made that easier was recognizing that they are human. You guys are going to have professors, just about every one of them is going to have a doctorate degree. They're going to be accomplished out the wazoo, and they're going to have a really good track record. But at the end of the day, they're still going to be willing to help you. They appreciate having engaging conversations with their students. They appreciate whenever you come after class to talk to them or sitting at the front. They take note of those things. They're not just robots just going through the motions. They're really going to, and it's not selective at all, but it's really just kind of separating yourself from really being able to have those meaningful conversations. I can't guarantee that you're going to love every single professor you have at this school, but I can assure you that each professor is going to, of course, care about your success in their class. I challenge you to, of course, engage your professors, just because it can be very nerve-wracking to approach this person, and of course they have all these accolades, but it really goes a long way, because ultimately your professors have pretty much been where you want to go. They have probably worked a little bit in industry, they've gone the grad school route, some professors have MBAs, some have PhDs, MDs, everything. And so even if they're not in your field, you can still find a professor that has a specialization in something that you're interested in, because there's just a very wide variety of fields on this campus. And so whenever you go to approach them, it's really beneficial to you to really be able to take their advice and seeing if you're going the best way, taking the best path towards your goals and being able to pursue your ambitions. And they're really just another resource here, like the other many resources that we have littered across campus for you to really take advantage of and be able to succeed through your time at Baylor.
Thank you. Faculty are an important part of the learning and education environment here at Baylor. I can't tell the number of times that someone has needed a letter of recommendation from me. I've taught classes, and they ask for the letter of recommendation, and I go, I want to see you succeed. I want to help you get into graduate school or whatever internship opportunity, but I don't really know you. I have 50, 60 students on my roster, and They never once came to office hours or never took the time to actually interact with me. So please do, I said all that to say this, please do make sure that you establish a relationship with the faculty member. I challenge all of our students to at least get to know one faculty member each semester because it could lead to opportunities that are beyond your imagination. So I do have a couple more questions, but before I do that, I want to open up the floor for you all to ask our panelists any questions that you may have. We have 2 microphones here to my right and my left, so if you want to come forward and ask those questions.
Please don't be scared to do so. We're excited to answer questions. We're really excited.
This is like the first day of class, like when the teacher asks, anybody got any questions? And everybody sit and look. Oh, we have one.
Hello.
Yay.
Hello. My name's Ellie, and I was just wondering if you had any advice for students that are interested in a lot of different areas of study and don't really have like one specific interest.
I am a business major, so I have 2 majors in the business school with a minor in political science in the pre-law track. So that's kind of a little bit of everywhere, but what you can do if you're not very sure about what you want, you can join a club that is already doing that. Like for example, let's say I was a math major, but I was interested in business, I would join a business club, because for most of these clubs, you don't have to be a major or a certain major to participate. So maybe you can get into that and be like, hey, I like this, I might switch over. If anything, I mean, I'm doing 2 majors and a minor, so like you can do a lot of stuff at the same time. You can always also get like different kinds of certificates. So like it's an option. I would honestly sit down with my advisor and be like, I want everything, and for her to like break it down for you more. But I feel like a good way to approach it is joining clubs, finding out how much you like it, because sometimes we might have different little passions, but some are bigger than others. So just make sure to explore everything as much as possible. I encourage it. I have a lot of friends that have switched over. Switching over is fine. I have a friend who switched over 5 times, and now he's very happy. So don't be scared to make that switch. Much more for you guys that you're going to take the basic classes, the core classes. So you still have time. I have junior friends who are still switching over. So like, don't be scared for that either. I don't know if any of y'all have anything else to add.
Yeah, also just talk to people that are where you want to be. Ultimately, of course, they've had more experience, they've been through it, or they've seen other people go through it, of course, like Andrea. I mean, I'd say probably that's another really big tip for you guys is talk to people that are where you want to be, because they have a profound amount of information that you just wouldn't be able to see right off the bat.
The last thing I would add is we do have university advisement that is primarily for our exploring majors, but if you are interested in various majors, university advisement can definitely help you there. Our career center has like an aptitude similarity test. I don't know the official name of it, but you can also utilize them. And as Alden mentioned, faculty, they come from various pathways. Some of them started out as faculty, some of them they worked in an industry or a particular industry. I know that's really popular in the School of Engineering. And so you can talk to those faculty members and they'll tell you about their journeys, a good time for you to share your story and make that connection to better understand where is it that I ultimately want to land.
Okay, thank you so much. That was very helpful.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions? If you can't tell, we get so excited when people ask us questions.
Hey, my question is, where do you think is the best place to create new friendships? I feel like that's one of the most important things that I'm looking forward to going into is finding people that share my interests. And you mentioned clubs, and I also saw stuff about like intramurals and stuff like that. And so where did y'all think y'all found the most friendship and the most camaraderie?
I'll speak more on this later, but I think something that's really important is to put yourself out there and just join. There's an event, I think it's in September, late night.
Late night. Mm-hmm.
It is just all student organizations, clubs, whatnot that meet, and you can go through all of them and sign up for literally any one you want, and just joining as many organizations as you want to join and you can join. And also just get to know, like, don't be afraid to reach out to people on your hall, in your residence hall, or just even like in your classes, making study buddies, or just don't be afraid to just like be like, hey, my name is blah, blah, blah. What's your name? Or just introduce yourself to anyone and everyone that you can. I'd say that's what I did and really helped me to make friends.
Yeah, also to kind of put that into perspective, late night, I'd say, again, that's a really good way to do that. Even I had my first one this past semester. I was a year in, and I had my first late night, and pretty much they have like a map of campus, and each part of campus will have a different field of clubs and organizations. So for intramurals, you would look at the slick, and so they would have like basketball teams, they'd have flag football, they would have everything in the slick because that's more, of course, like outdoors sports. Then they have like different academic programs that are like in the middle of Fountain Mall, which is a big garden stretch in front of Moody Library. So essentially, you like look on that map, and so just about anything that you might have an interest in, you kind of find it on there, and then you walk to that portion of campus, and you just ask the questions, or of course, and meet the people that you have interest in getting involved with. So it's a pretty good experience. I'd say you look out for that too.
The Slick is our gym for anyone who doesn't know. I didn't know for a while, so I wanted to clear it up. I feel like, I don't know if you're going to line camp, but I have a lot of friends that met their best friends and their boyfriends and girlfriends in line camp. I didn't go to line camp, so it was also like a really good experience. Like you say, just everyone that you see, say hi. And if you don't, they'll most likely say hi to you. So everyone is really eager to meet each other. I mean, from when you're eating to when you're walking to class, you're like, I'm lost, are you lost too? So it's just a really, I don't think I've met a lot of people that have struggled to make friends, because there's always, everyone is so welcoming. Like everyone is excited to make new friends. So I feel like that is something that we're all scared of coming into college. But everyone is just so happy to be here. It's such a lovely environment. So you will find your group of people. Like I have no doubt about it. And like there's so many other resources you could just reach out to see people who like the same things you do. But everything is out there. Like I'm excited for you, and I'm excited for all of y'all, because it's like a really, really special moment you guys are gonna get to experience really soon.
Yeah, and they're referencing late night. Late night is a student organization fair, which will take place the first Friday of the fall semester. And it will be housed in various locations on campus. We'll definitely, as an institution, make sure that we advertise that information to you. I would also say What's New BU is an email that you will receive every Monday, weekly, every Monday. And it's good to read that whenever you get a little time, because that's going to tell you what's happening, where to go, what's free, things like that. So make sure you read that. Two more things to your question, I would say, is you have your new student experience course. Oftentimes those are related to your major. Sometimes it's not, but sometimes it's related to a major, so you're able to make connections there. You have your welcome week group. Of course, you have Baylor Line Camp if that's what you choose. Lastly, I would just say be patient, give it time. Some of us are introverts, and it just take a little while to meet people. Some of us are extroverts, and we're gonna know 10 people before we leave orientation today. That's okay if you know no one or you have not made a connection. Just be patient with it, because transitions take time, okay? So if you don't have your best group of friends the first week of school, that's okay, just give it some time.
Thank you.
All right.
Hi, my name is Riley, and so how do you deal with a teacher that you don't particularly like, or just don't like their class or something like that? Like, how would y'all go about dealing with that? Because I struggled with that in high school, so.
Oh God, you got some amens here.
I haven't had a teacher I haven't liked. I feel like Baylor's really good at picking out professors. Like they're amazing people. I mean, at least I've taken a lot of business classes in the business department. Everyone's great. If you feel like you're butting heads with a professor, you could always either switch or, go with it. Like sometimes we have to deal with it. I mean, sometimes it's either that professor or an 8 a.m. I prefer the professor than waking up at 8 a.m. So I personally think that like my brother was the same way. Every professor in high school they were mortal nemesis, but when he got to college, he was like, I like these more. Like, it's just a very different environment. I feel like in high school, we're definitely more, I don't want to say trapped, but they're more focused on you and what you're doing and like, don't do this, don't do that, don't talk, don't say this, don't say that. And in college, they're way more open. I mean, they want to engage in conversations with you. They want to make sure you succeed. So I feel like you won't have that problem a lot, if ever, but if you find yourself in that situation, sometimes we gotta stick it through, or sometimes you're like, you know what, this is not for me. In high school, you can't do this, but here you can actually like, I'm doing this next semester, like I quit. Like, it's an option sometimes, like, and it doesn't mean like you failed or anything like that. It's just that maybe this wasn't for you, this professor was not teaching the way you learn, and that's okay. I don't know if anyone else has something to add.
Yes, for sure. No, for sure. I think this also kind of plays into like networking and like knowing your peers or knowing somebody that's where you want to be, because oftentimes if you've already kind of had like a set track for your major, like you know for sure this is a major you want to do, you can talk to people that are, you know, sophomores, juniors, people like us that have been kind of where you want to be, can kind of tell you, hey, this professor teaches it this way, you might not really like it, but here's another option. And so that way you can kind of have like an understanding of before you come into the class, you kind of know what to expect. I think freshman year is a little bit different because the academic advisors I think they choose your classes a little bit differently, but once you get past that, you have full jurisdiction over like which professors you take and what times you take them. And so I think from there you can kind of, again, like you'd have a better idea of what you're getting yourself into. And in the case that you find yourself stuck, that might happen. It typically doesn't, but in the case that you do, get a band of the people that are in the class and just band together and try to get a study group together. Feel free to, if nobody else has done it, take it upon yourself to do it. It goes a long way, and it really shows, of course, character just whenever you can get a band of people that are, you know, feel like they're in a tough position, and then, you know, say, hey, like, you know, we're gonna study this on, you know, on every Thursday night, or hey, like, when are you free to meet up? Or, you know, hey, can we go over the like last homework? Those things help out a lot whenever it comes to getting through classes that you might find difficult, or you have a professor that's kind of tough. And oftentimes you might find that the other people don't really like them either. So you're all kind of in the same boat, and, you know, you just band together, get it done, and then you put in your, you know, one semester, and then you don't have to look at the class again. So it's really a matter of just circumstance, and of course setting yourself up in the best position for you to be successful.
And the last thing I would add is in college, you have the option to provide course evaluations at the end of each course. I highly encourage you to provide that feedback, because the only way that faculty or any of us can get better is when we receive constructive feedback. So do take the time to fill out the course evaluations. That information is reviewed and it is read by the department chair, and sometimes the dean and that instructor. So if you are in a situation where it just was not a good fit for whatever reason, make sure that that's reflected in that course evaluation at the end of the semester, so that we can improve and so that we can get better and that we don't have these deficiencies in our lecturers. Thank you. Does that answer your question?
Thank you, yeah.
Okay, all right. So I have one more question that I'm going to ask each of the panelists to answer, and then after which we will allow them to actually meet you all out in the foyer if you have any other questions that maybe you wanted to ask any of them specifically. So my last question is, if you could give everyone here today one piece of advice and tip for success, what would that be?
As I already mentioned, I would say my number one tip for success is to really put yourself out there. After the first few weeks for me that were difficult, I realized it was super important to put myself out there, not only socially, but also academically. I had to challenge myself to attend events and meet people, and not just expecting it all to fall into my lap. I would encourage you to join organizations that interest you, go to events. Academically, you can go to tutoring, ask for help, and talk to your professors. I joined a sorority in the spring, which really allowed me to make great connections and build deeper community. I went to events on campus that I had never heard of, and putting myself out there really helped me to succeed. And I think putting yourself out there can really help you own your college experience and help you succeed.
Yeah, I'd say my number one tip would be you have all this free time, you have all these options. I'd say make friends where it counts, establish yourself in a way that's beneficial to you. You will have a lot of free time, but no matter how much time you have, you're always gonna have 24 hours in the day. And you're not gonna get 23, you're not gonna get 25, no matter where you're at, 24 is the set number. And so really it's for you to maximize each day that you have to really build on the person that you want to be. Again, there's going to be plenty of opportunities for you to make, close friends and to have a study group or to have somebody, a group of friends that you hang out with on the weekend. But really being able to be deliberate and very diligent with who you're surrounding yourself with, and then also the people that can hold you accountable in the different areas of your life, whether that be your interests, whether it be, of course, you're working out, making sure you're going to work out on time, and or just keeping up your grades. Just being able to surround yourself with people that are really going to pour into you and to support you in this foreign place, it really goes a long way, especially when you're so far away from home. It helps make this place a lot more familiar. I will say before I stop, just feel free to or continue to reach out to your family members. They will appreciate that. Don't forget where you came from. It's very much appreciated, and it really goes a long way.
Adding to that, I feel like my number one tip will be don't be scared. I mean, it's very easy to say that, but remember that you can only gain from any experience you made. I mean, experiences shape who we are, so don't be scared to reach out or to the tutoring center. Don't be scared to ask that question. Don't be scared to ask someone that you just met to hang out, because whether you get the outcome you want or not, you will get something from it, whether it's knowledge or a new experience. There is something positive from every experience we have, so don't be scared to reach out, step out of your shell. And adding on to that, remember to call your parents. As Alden was saying, I mean, I was like, oh, I haven't called my mom in like 2 or 3 days. I bet I miss my mom, and I'm sure she misses me too. So remember to call your parents, reach out, they miss you, as I'm sure you guys will get very busy with classes and fun and new clubs. But again, remember where you come from, like Alden said, and always take that with pride. So remember that very important part of you.
Thank you. Can you give our panelists a round of applause? They did a great job. So I want to remind you of a few things as you begin to transition to the next sessions. So after this session, beginning at 2:30, we will have interest sessions. You can check your schedule. There's a list of interest sessions. If you have not already done so, please stop by the Paul L. Foster Success Center tours in the Sid Richardson building to see the space, meet the professionals that I mentioned in those 4 areas who are here to support you throughout your Baylor journey. Lastly, please don't forget to stop by Dr. Pepper Hour and Campus Connections. You want a Dr. Pepper flow because it is hot outside. But also, many of the departments that our panelists talked about, that they have utilized this over their time here at Baylor, they will be represented at Campus Connections so that you can learn more about those areas. And again, these panelists will meet you outside in the foyer area if you have any specific questions. Thank you all so much and have a great rest of your orientation experience.